The key to shifting the way that you feel is implementing multiple modalities, multiple options, and approaches to what's going on with you at any given time. I thought I would hop on here and share with you all an experience that I just had where I was feeling off and in a way that I describe as lumpy. And with that, I was in this experience, in this feeling, and it was Tuesday. I had to get everything that I needed done because Tuesday happens to be a very productive time for me and a very productive space that I like to be in. So much so that even my body and my energy respond to Tuesdays as the day that we're going to get work done. And so when I did that, and I stepped up to the plate with this sort of lumpy energy, things were not moving or progressing the way that I wanted to. And it was frustrating. And I felt myself really trying to push myself despite the challenges that I was experiencing. And I feel like this is a call and a process that a lot of us go through. And in doing so, I could recognize in that moment that there were places where I wanted something to be a certain way. I thought if I applied more energy, more effort, that, by the way, I didn't have, that I would finally be able to break through whatever this funkiness was. And that's just not the case. It is never the case that force truly works without maybe breaking something apart. I say force doesn't work in terms of it doesn't work without some level of consequence. Some response occurs because of force. So there are situations where force is applicable, but when it comes to moving through an energy, shifting your circumstance, or addressing a problem, force is never the answer. And so, in order to access newness, we have to address what's going on. Now, societally, our medical care system is set up to address our symptoms. So one might lean on, oh, maybe I just need a little more water. Maybe I just need a little more sleep. Maybe I just need to take a break. And these are all very viable options. However, what I'm presenting in this moment is an opportunity to reach for more. We also societally don't like to take up space, which invariably leads to us thinking that if we do too much or we are too much, then we are in the wrong. You deserve more. And therefore, when addressing stuck energy, stiffness, lumpiness, start in one place and allow yourself to expand into others. So for me, this looked like some of these things were accidental and some of these things were intentional. So the intentional parts of my day in an attempt to move through the stickiness included drinking water, getting up and moving every now and again. When the body is still, it has a hard time processing shifting energies, waves of energies. And if you already feel mentally stuck, I would invite you to move and see if physical movement leads to mental emotional movement if you're able. This was the case for me. And what I'm not speaking to are instances where your body is literally so fatigued that you can't move. This is not what we're talking about. I was able to get up and had to make a choice to get up and go for a 5-minute walk and then to return. And as I sat down, ask the question, am I feeling different? Not feeling better, because that's never the goal. And if it is your goal, I invite you to define what better is, just to create clarity on what it is that you are trying to reach for. But in this case, I just wanted to feel different. So I got up intentionally and I walked. I took sips of water because I recognized that if I was experiencing brain fog, and I was, that hydration can be a contributing factor to that. So I was drinking water. I was engaging in mental questions and trying to fire up my inspiration in the best way that I could. Things were just not progressing. So, in this experience, I cannot say that, even as spiritual as I can be, I cannot say that I stopped and I meditated, and I didn't. What I ended up engaging with was a default system within myself that said, just put your head down, nose to the grind, and keep pushing, keep working. And I did that from, gosh, it had to be from 1 o'clock until 9:30, 9:45 at night. At that point, I had done everything that Tuesday required of me. And from there, I felt finally that I could at least settle into bed. So I went and I realized at 9:45 that I hadn't eaten. And there's always an awareness in me of circumstances that may not pan out the way that I had hoped. There, and where I'm going with this is that when I recognized that I hadn't eaten and how late it was, I know in the past that eating that late and so close to the time when I would be sleeping has disconnected me from my dreams. It has made getting up more difficult, and it has caused my body to somewhat feel unrested throughout the night as I'm trying to sleep with food in my stomach. Perhaps it's being processed. All of those things are occurring. And so the next process, or the next decision, and we're always trying to make the next right decision, was to at least hydrate a little bit, maybe put some good bacteria into my body, and then make my way to bed. So I happened to have kombucha. So I took just like a little shot of that, little swig of that off of my bottle, and I made my way to bed. Now, I knew that my typical wake up time is about 4:45 in the morning so that I can get in meditation and things of that nature, but it was late, so I had to push that time back. So if what you're hearing in my story is the continuation of added experiences, added therapies, and choices that created a shift in my experience. So laying in bed, I'd made the decision that I would get up at 5:30. It was still enough time to meditate. It was still enough time to make my day meaningful to me. So I went to bed and I woke up and the fog was gone. The stuckness had lifted. I no longer felt like a lump, and I jumped out of bed. And I couldn't quite bring together what caused this. What I knew was that I wanted this feeling every morning. And I backtracked over my day. Well, what did I eat? What did I do? And I could only mentally reference the periods where I was working. And I thought for sure, I was like, there is no way that work was the answer. So I sat down and I meditated. And in that meditation, what was revealed to me was hydration, fasting unintentionally, because I ended up fasting from 1 o'clock until about 9 o'clock the next morning. So today, fasting, not going to bed with my body processing food, making sure that I got those hours of sleep that were required, and waking up with new opportunities. Now, the new opportunities piece wasn't a choice. But what I can speak to is the lack of brain fog gave me an opportunity to reach for higher minded concepts rather than allowing myself to dive into challenges. What also came to me in meditation was the movement piece. I recognize areas in life where I haven't moved and I continued to feel mentally stuck and challenged, and the moments where I could start incorporating more movement, and these can be smaller, they can be huge, going for a walk, also incorporating fascial maneuvers or fascial stretching. These are very helpful tools because you're engaging with your body's channels and energy fields that power your ability to navigate this physical existence. And so addressing those helps. And so all of these things were revealed to me as the puzzle pieces. And at the time, they were just darts that I was throwing at a wall, hoping they would stick. They ended up weaving together a beautiful tapestry of something that allowed me to enter this day with more hope and more promise for a different experience. And today, even as I make this video, it is not failing me in any way, shape, or form. There have been more synchronicities. It seems like the day and the colors are more vibrant today. And so while I can't say that I will fast every night, I can now use these tools and pull together these aspects and options to influence my energy. And I offer that awareness to you. We are conditioned to think that there is a one thing that we can reach for in order to shift our experience. I've been guilty of that too. This can be healing work, it can be spell work, it can be yoga, it can be exercise, it can be wine, it can be friendships, it can be a lot of different things. And again, as I mentioned earlier, this may be from the way that we treat symptoms in our medical system. You have a headache, you take the Tylenol. You have an injury, you address just the injury, not the energy or the trauma that happened to create the energy. You just focus on on the injury. But inviting more into the experience, allowing yourself to take up space and allowing yourself to expand allows you to see and shift everything that's going on around you. One of the other key components to my meditation was being able to sit in my own energy, in my divine line. And as I did that, and I offer this to you too, when you're sitting in your own energy, of course, you are going to meet your pain first. But I invite you to stay there just a little longer. And when I say a little longer, as much as 5 to 7 minutes. And then what you may find is a stairway around, through, above, underneath that pain that reveals more. You're allowing yourself to take up more space. And as you take up more space, you will start to fade into the infinite and you'll expand. And as you expand, so that pain will expand into what it actually is. The answers will be revealed to you. I can recall during my meditation this morning as I was sitting in my divine line that my pain approached me, the pain of pushing myself, the pain of not speaking up for myself, the times in my life when I hadn't spoken up for myself, I had just pushed myself through traumatic circumstances. And my body didn't seem to know the difference. So as my pain was revealed to me, I held it and I held it close, not rejecting it, not saying, I can't deal with this right now. And this isn't what I want to look at, but to say, thank you. Thank you for showing up for me when I couldn't show up for myself. And it started to dissipate in my hands. And then I could feel my energy open back up and release and connect to everything around me, because we are meant to be connected to everything around us. And then the answers came. The tapestry of my day, where I applied little incremental changes, allowed me to make further shifts that I wasn't aware of. And I look at that and I see the opportunity to make conscious shifts. And I wanted to share that gift here by making a video. It seems like a lot of us were stuck yesterday, and there can be different influences going on internally, externally, and both at the same time. And the more that you allow yourself to take up space and to be just as you are, and more importantly than anything, if you heard nothing else in what I'm saying, address your needs in the moment, even if you're only doing it for 5 minutes. You can have the shift that you need. There's so many healing tools available, but the real key to creating a shift in your circumstance is to bring in multiple experiences, because you are a complicated being just as I am, and we need multiple facets to create shifts and changes. This is the case in the world. Plants don't just need water, they need sunlight. They need carbon dioxide. They need a loving environment to really thrive. They need the minerals in their soil if they're outside. And it's not just one mineral, it's multiple. Nothing in this life requires one thing. And the more we distill our needs down to just one thing, the more we miss opportunities to be more, to have more, and we deserve more. So the key to shifting your experience, the key to shifting your energy, is to bring in multiple facets, opportunities, and modalities so that your body and your energy can expand. I hope that was helpful. That was just my little share. And if you're catching this video, I'd love to hear from you and what it is that you find supportive on your journey and what you think you might add that you haven't previously tried. Thanks again for joining me, and happy healing.